Yep.
Okay, recording is in progress. Josephina, welcome to Depth by Design. Today's episode is special because of two reasons. First, today's guest is my sister who grew up alongside me in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And second, she is currently a patient care nursing assistant working on the front lines of healthcare. Today, we're going to focus on two main topics that have kind of been the theme, especially with like interviewing mom and dad previous to you. So the first one is how you think growing up in Pittsburgh has shaped you as a person. And the second point is I want to talk about a little bit about your journey into nursing, and how the realities of healthcare have shaped your views on health and fitness, both for yourself and maybe for other people in your life. So how does that sound, Joey?
Yeah, it sounds great. I'm
Are you?
honored. I'm really honored to be a part of this podcast. I really like
Thank
this,
you.
by the way. This is a good,
Oh,
great idea. So I'm
that's
really,
so
no,
meaningful.
yeah, this is awesome.
Because you never
So,
talk to me in private like this. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And I want to thank you for the important work that you're doing
thank
as a
you. I
nurse.
appreciate that.
Yeah, so let's start with the first point, growing up
Okay.
in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Um,
So, yeah, I think living 15 minutes out from the city is truly something that has played a role into who I am because I feel really connected with Pittsburgh. I mean, wherever I go, I can feel inside me the fiery, um, I bleed black and gold. Like, I have a very strong personality when it comes to Pittsburgh. So I'm kind of, in a sense, very proud of where I'm from. And I feel like it adds to who I am more of.
mhm.
So yeah, I think that's the answer to the question of growing up in Pittsburgh, just kind of
Mhm.
giving me a sense of like, I know wherever I go in life, I want to travel. Wherever I go in life, I always know that Pittsburgh, that's my roots. That's where I'm from.
Yeah,
I'm proud of it. Like,
yeah, I think I'm definitely the same way. Even though I'm living in another country, and I kind of mentioned this with mom, I still, always tell people about Pittsburgh, and I tell people about Pittsburgh proudly and the little details and intricacies of Pittsburgh that makes growing up there so unique. And let's see if we can get more specific. Like, I mean, I tell people about the incline because that's such a specific about, going Mount,
yeah.
what is it, Washington?
Yep.
Fort Duquesne incline because we have a lot of hills, the three
Yeah.
rivers. And it's kind of weird because the canals kind of remind me a little bit of Three Rivers. I don't know if this is just me making connections that aren't there, but maybe that's why Amsterdam kind of feels a little bit like
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, for sure. Also, too, like, I don't know, the point, something about that when you see a picture of Pittsburgh, it's like, I don't know. It's a beautiful
Hmm.
city, and then the golden bridges, like we're just known
This,
for that. Like we have a lot of
yeah.
spirit within our city too. So, and another thing is, one thing I love is I have gone places before and people are like, "Are you from Pittsburgh?" I'm like, "Yeah, how'd you know that?" They're like, "I can hear it in your voice." And I'm like, "Oh, look, I get proud." I almost like I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
The
So,
Pittsburghies,
the
the
Pittsburghies,
Pittsburghies, for sure.
Yins, all that.
Yins.
You should have wore your hat.
Oh yeah, wait. I have it. Oh, I have it right here. Actually, thank you for reminding me.
Yeah,
Yes, I'll
Represent.
take this out. I gotta represent during this. This is actually important. Um, I have worn it out now once in the streets of the
Hey.
Netherlands. I think it
Has
just goes right
anyone
over people's heads.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, has
Uh,
anyone asked you about it that you don't know? Anyone that you don't know?
Not yet. I've only worn it out once for like a
Okay.
brief copy thing, but we'll
Okay.
see. This says yins if it's backwards on the camera. I can't
It's
tell if it
not.
is. It
It's
just says
from
yins.
my
Okay,
angle, it's not. So,
cool. And now the next question. How do you think growing up in the US, more generally, has maybe shaped, I don't know, your values or your worldview, if at all?
hmm I think I can say confidently that I'm proud to be an American and almost have a sense of gratefulness knowing the amount of opportunity I have and
Mhm.
opportunity to grow and the freedom I have. And I think a lot of that actually comes from dad too. I mean, dad has really instilled that, and mom,
Yeah.
into my core values, just really being
Yeah.
able to take a step back from everything and be like, I mean, mom and dad, they have provided us with a great life, great building of opportunity, and I don't know. So
Yeah.
I think I do want to experience other cultures
Yeah.
and appreciate other cultures and places too, but definitely proud to be an American.
Yeah, and I think the way now that I'm kind of doing research, I realize I've been doing research about topics that the whole purpose of doing them is to help promote healthy, functioning democracies. And I think the reason why I've cared so much about the work I've done in this previous year is because of that main value, the main point of it. And also it aligns with my values of how I was raised, with dad being in the US Navy and him always telling us to appreciate democracy and the freedoms that come with democracy.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm doing that in my own way, which is through research, which kind of fits with just more of how I operate as a
Yeah.
person.
I almost
Um,
felt like a duty to vote too. I think that's something I felt very strongly towards.
yeah,
So being able to vote, I think that's
yeah.
great.
And I think that's definitely kind of became clear with talking with you, dad, and mom a little more deeply on these podcasts, kind of this just ingrained appreciation of democracy and freedom, because that's kind of how we were raised. And
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for that.
I think despite all
Hmm.
the chaos
Hmm.
involved in this democracy, I really try to pick out um just being grateful for the freedoms of it.
Yeah,
Despite
all the
varying
craziness and
opinions,
mhm.
craziness, still looking at the overall picture of it.
Yeah. And I think now I'm gonna shift gears a little bit. So now that we've kind of talked about growing up in Pittsburgh together, and I guess we didn't really talk about it growing up together, but your experiences growing up in Pittsburgh and how do you think, being American has also shaped your worldviews? I want to kind of transition to the more health and fitness component that I also like to talk about, that I've talked about with mom and dad and other guests on this podcast. And we're gonna talk a little about you're at the beginning of your career. you're a nursing assistant. So how did you decide to go into healthcare?
So, when I was younger, I actually have a core memory that kind of defines my whole reasoning of going into healthcare, which is when our Nana, was not doing so well and she was having at home care. And if you remember going into her house, all the things were there. She had another bed. I mean, she was getting tube feeding. And I remember mom and we went over one day and mom was helping. And I think I was probably around, I mean, I was young, 13, 14.
Hmm.
And, Nana was kind of embarrassed because we had to lift up her shirt. She had these two. And I just remember wanting to be full in, hands on, ready to help. I didn't mind. I reassured Nana. I held some of her dignity in that moment, even though I didn't really know what that was at the time. I was kind of just like, yeah, no, let's do this. And I love that I was able to put myself aside and help someone I love. So now, ever since then, I was kind of like, I thought about dermatology, I thought about a PA, a physician's assistant, but for me, I was like, I feel like nursing is really where I could get to the core of doing what I want to do, which is help people. And that sounds very basic, very like what a lot of people say, but I really do feel that giving back to other people is something I was called to do,
Hmm.
especially in a time where people don't have, you know, when they're at one of maybe their lowest points, which is in the
Hmm.
hospital or sick or can't provide for themselves. And now going into care, it's almost, I kind of have that mindset of if this was someone like Nana that you love, how would you treat them? Even though I don't know the person. So I kind of like, that's how I kind of go into things now. So then ever since then, I just couldn't stop thinking about being a nurse. I was like, this is, I'm so confident in this decision. I've never wanted to be really anything else.
Yeah, it really sounds like you found a calling
Yeah.
for sure. And helping people is kind of at the core
Yeah.
of what you want to do. Was there something about being a nursing assistant that most people might not know?
I think a nursing assistant position is very overlooked in terms of what we do in healthcare. I mean, technically, you don't need a degree, you don't need very much prerequisites, I think that's how you pronounce it, to become a PCNA. So I believe that sometimes it's looked like, okay, here's PCNA, here's nursing, here's the nurse practitioner, here's doctors, but really, we are really doing the hard, nitty gritty work. We're doing the work that a lot of people don't want to do physically. So, for instance, when a patient's down in bed, we got to boost them up. Boost them up. If they can't move, boost them up. Bed changes if they're incontinent, meaning they're having a bowel movement without knowing it. They're peeing
Mm,
without knowing it. We have to clean them up. They got to go to
yeah.
the bathroom. We got to help them get up. There's a lot of times where I think it's just overlooked over the things that we do.
Mm.
But then
And
there's a
Pete,
lot of nurses that do recognize it too. A lot of nurses and doctors
mm.
do recognize it. I feel like there's the mix of people that do and people that don't. But if that's something that you're asking, maybe people might not know. That's what a lot of the PCNs do is the hard nitty gritty stuff of nursing.
So What does that stand for? The acronym? PNC?
PCNA, a patient
What
care
is it?
nursing assistant.
Okay. So yeah, you guys are really doing the nitty-gritty. And this is kind of, so my understanding is you want to become a nurse, and this is kind
Yes.
of um a stepping stone. What's the difference responsibilities? Like what does a nurse do that you can't do now as a nursing assistant?
Yes. So the nurses right now, say if I were to get my degree, my BSN, which is Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, I would be able to go into the computer, into the patient's files, and administrate medication. It's a lot of that stuff. So nurses, they can do the things that we do. It's just our job title is more for those things. Some nurses do actually still help out with those things. We're
Mm,
actually taught in the first year of nursing school how to do what a PCNA does. So technically, as a nurse, we are still supposed to carry on PCNA skills throughout the rest of our career.
mm,
But adding on, it's medication administration, it's talking with the doctors. Hey, advocating for your patient. It's, hey, something's not right. Blood pressure's been really low. Let's take a look at this. Can we do this for them? Can we do that? So it's really the communication
yeah.
part, a lot of the medication side of it, which makes sense.
So you mentioned earlier that this job can be like pretty physically demanding, and I'm sure it can also be emotionally demanding. How has that shaped your own approach to health and fitness?
Yeah, I really do believe becoming a PCNA was a great stepping stone for me in terms of being able to see front line before I become a nurse, more of the things that go on in a hospital. And you would be surprised. You would think that maybe if someone's in the hospital, it's a little bit of like a hey, wake up call, I need to take care of my health a little bit more. But a lot of people still don't even realize that. Or a lot of people, it just doesn't click for them that maybe I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking, but from an
Mm,
outside perspective, it's they don't take care of their health outside of the hospital. And so, what that has turned for me is kind of an eye opener to wow, a lot of people are not, I don't want to say educated, but a lot of people are just not invested into their own health.
mm,
And then it also turns into me having more worry for like my family and my friends. I've noticed more of like me wanting them to get moving. You should be moving 30 minutes a day and getting your heart rate up to a different zone every day. You should be trying to eat an 80-20 percentage of whole foods compared to the cravings that you want.
mm,
And so then seeing that too, I really do try to put that into my own health too, because who am I to go out there and be like, do this, do that, and I'm not doing it myself.
mm.
So being in the hospital really just turned my
Yeah,
perspective. I've always had a health and fitness journey. I mean, I played soccer for 18 years, so I've always
yeah.
been pretty active, pretty into lifting and running and all of that. But I think education wise, I've really been able to see a different part of it that I haven't seen before and learn more. I'm learning so much more as I keep on going. And then you
So,
said,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so it sounds like you were always kind of health conscious growing up. Um, do you think even more so now?
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. As I continue to learn,
Hmm.
I mean, I probably learn something new every day when I have a shift at the hospital. Every day. And
Wow.
and then mentally, so it's physically demanding, but it's also mentally demanding. I've had my few days already where I'm like, all right, I gotta leave this at the hospital. I can't bring it back. And there are
Mm,
some days where I come back home and I'm just drained. I can't even work out
yeah.
because I'm just drained mentally and physically. I'm tired. I just want to go to bed. Mentally, I've had my few patients that I've really felt for. That, I mean, I feel for all my patients, but I've had the few cases where I've seen a lot of them in pain, and I have already prayed for a couple of patients with them and for them. And I think that's what really gets me on the mental side is when I can relate with patients in terms of religion. And that's what really gets me feeling. Because when I pray for them, I really do feel the Holy Spirit. I'm like, wow. And then taking that outside, it just makes me even more grateful for my own health. And I kind of have shifted a perspective, a mindset of I
Yeah.
get to do these things. I get to work out today because this person's in the hospital laying in the bed. I get to go to work today and help these people. I get to wake up and just have the freedom of my own life and do what I want without stop being in the stoppage of being in the hospital. I mean, that puts a halt
Yeah.
to their own personal lives too. So I don't know, it's
Hmm.
just really eye opening.
Yeah, so it definitely sounds like, alongside the physically demanding, it can be emotionally demanding at least. And so what are some ways you try to take care of yourself outside of work to stay balanced when it does sound tough at times?
I'm glad you asked this because I really do think this is a huge thing that healthcare workers, especially, but even everyone, needs to do for their own mental health. So, some things I have invested in recently, this sounds small, but I've been really enjoying it. I moved into
Hmm.
a new house in Kent. So I'm in a house now, not an apartment, and we have a front porch. And I will just go outside, drink my coffee, kind of just
Hmm.
have a slow morning. And it's been beautiful mornings out, and I will either read my Bible, I'll meditate out there sometimes, like a 10-minute meditation. I'll actually just sit there and sip on my coffee and ponder without a phone or nothing. All right.
Hmm.
Journaling has been a huge thing for me. I've journaled since middle school, high school. I don't know. So that's something. So yeah, I think just taking the
Okay.
time to really set apart all of the distractions, everything, and just like be with yourself. And I kind of noticed like, okay,
Yeah.
how am I feeling right now? How is there anything that I'm pushing down, you know what I mean, or trying to push away that I need to just let it
Focus
happen?
on and kind of
Yeah.
lean into so you can like process it.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, because it definitely sounds like it can be tough sometimes, but I like how you have like simple yet impactful practices in place to help you with that.
Yeah.
Drinking your coffee, journaling, like those are all simple. Like, you don't need much to do it, but it
No.
just the act of doing that is a treat for yourself and
Yeah,
yeah,
for
can help
sure.
clear your mind. Yeah, I also love my morning coffee and I try to get outside in my little outside space first thing in the morning, try to get sunlight in my eyes
Yeah.
first thing in the morning, just some fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
Um, before heading to the computer to, do my work,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Um,
Just take a minute
and
to slow down.
yeah, and then, running has been the more of a recent development. Running outside, I love running outside and in parks in nature. That's so grounding.
I was about to say, like the fitness, that's more spiritual what I talked about, but fitness too, lifting, running, and I'm glad you said running because that's something I feel like you and I can relate on. I mean, we're very two different individuals, but like I'm so
Hmm.
glad that you got into running because it really It really is freeing. Like, I don't know if you can agree with that, but it just
Yeah, it
feels
is freeing. I
good.
did this week. I went to like a meetup, like a running club meetup.
Okay.
Um, and everyone was way too fast, so I was left behind.
Hey,
But hey, you got to give things a try.
but you
I've been
did
running for
it.
a while now, but I did it. I've been running for a while now, but I am not speed lightning. That's for sure. And it was marketed as like beginner friendly. I'm like, I don't know if this is beginner friendly. I'm like, you know what I mean?
All right, guys.
Uh, but you got to try things out, you know. But I thought that was kind
Yeah.
of funny,
Oh well. Oh well. You can say
you
you
know.
did it now.
Yeah, yeah. I can say I did it. But looking forward, Josephina, um, what are your future goals in healthcare? So you mentioned you want to become a nurse. So you're currently working towards that, but where do you see yourself? What are your future goals
Future goals
in healthcare?
in healthcare. One, pediatrics. I know for a
Yeah.
fact I want to work with kids. I've worked with adults. I have worked with kids, and kids is my calling. I love kids. I work well with them. So eventually, I would like to get a position in pediatrics and eventually oncology, which
Mhm.
is cancer. So, pediatric oncology, I really do think I have a little calling for that. And possibly, this is very out there and would be so further along in my years, but going back to school to get my NP, which is nurse practitioner.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, that's kind of something that's been flowing through my brain. Right now, I got one more year left. Got to get that degree first. That's my first step, first goal. Then
Yeah,
go from there.
I like it. I like it. And if you could give one piece of advice to someone thinking about becoming a nursing assistant or a nurse, what would it be?
I think it would be to one, give a little bit more of yourself than you think you need to give.
Hmm.
Two, be you. Don't you lose yourself through it. And there's a lot of different personalities within healthcare, but continue to go in there and be who you are because if you have a calling for it, you're supposed to be there and bring a little bit of you to your job with everything that you do.
Mm,
So it's like, yeah, I think
I
that's what
love
I would
that.
give.
I love that. So now we're gonna start wrapping up. So we covered a little bit about, you know, your roots, our roots growing up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We talked about health and fitness and about the work you do in healthcare. Is there anything that you would like to add that we didn't get to touch upon today in the questions that I asked?
No, I really think we covered a great gist of it all. I think one more thing too about the healthcare is um, me playing soccer for 18 years has actually helped me
Mm,
with my work effort within the healthcare system. And I have been told from managers that they do like a lot of student athletes in the healthcare field, which is
mm.
interesting to me because they like that the drive that they have.
The
So I mean,
drive.
I guess if
Yeah.
even also to another piece of advice, like anyone that's out there, like student athletes, there's always that confusion of, oh, will I be able to play my sport, but also I want to do healthcare? Like that's too much. I mean, I was able to juggle both. and you still have to be able to do what you want. And I think like healthcare is a great field for athletes to go into. So I think that's just one more thing I wanted to add.
Well, Josephina, thank you for talking with me today on Depth by Design. I thought it was very insightful and meaningful to connect with you in a different format than how we typically
Hmm.
hang out and see each other at
Yeah.
family functions. So thank you, and thank you for the work that you do.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Love you.
You too.